Hey y'all. It's Alan. I have not been on YouTube in quite a while, but here I am. And I'm going to talk to you about some things and basically just give you an update on my life and what's going on and where I plan to go with this whole thing called YouTube. Um, Let me actually shift and get comfy for a sec. Yeah. Now that my legs are crossed the right way. Um, First of all, uh, I started the whole depth year in the year 2020, and that was basically the last video I posted. Was an update on that. Um, I didn't post anything else about it like in the last month of 2020 or anything. Um, Honestly, it went okay, but that's a whole thing, and we're just moving on from that. Like that's done and over at this point. Um, then, um, also, as you know, in March of 20, well, it was before that, but I think we here where I'm at finally heard about it in March of 2020. Is when COVID hit. Um, and I'll be honest and say it didn't really change our routine that much. Um, with all the lockdowns and the stay at homes and the. You can't be doing that. Daddy Andy. Um, um, yeah, I really didn't. That's a whole reference. Like the whole Daddy Andy thing, Andy Snack. It's a reference to the governor of Kentucky, in case you're not aware. Um, Google it, you'll figure it out. Um, Anyhow, COVID didn't change our routine that much. Like, I mean, we've always kind of been homebodies, anyways. Um, Basically, what we did before COVID was go to the grocery store, um, maybe go to Target. Um, uh, we had July 4th parties. The Coven came over regularly, and we would go to visit mom once a month. Like, that's what would happen before COVID. Like, that's basically all the shit we did. We might go up north to visit the in laws for Christmas, or the in laws might stop in here on their way somewhere. Um, None of that really changed. Like, I mean, because we didn't do much before COVID. The only real difference, I guess, um, after COVID hit, was we wore masks to the grocery store or to do any other shopping. If we were in a public place in a building, we wore masks. Um, and that's it. Like, I mean, what changed? We still went to visit mom. I there were never like a tremendous amount of people in and out of her apartment. Like it was her neighbor upstairs who did her grocery shopping when we couldn't. And that was basically the amount of people who went in and out of her apartment. And so it was me, the hubby, and the chick who lived upstairs from mom who did her grocery shopping sometimes. Like that's who was in and out of mom's apartment. So going to visit mom was not that big of an issue, um, because we knew we were safe, we were self isolating. Um, so I mean, there was not a whole lot of change in our routine. Then um, we started having our coven meetings actually um, by Zoom in order to, you know, be safe because we were self isolating too. The entire coven was. Um, we would just do like discussions over Zoom about certain things, or we would have social time. Um, I don't think we ever actually did a ritual over Zoom, even though we had planned on it. It just kind of like it felt a little weird, so we just kind of fell through for us, and we just fell into like social time. But that was not a gigantic deal. We did actually start having in person coding meetings again. I think it was after Beltane 2020 because we didn't get to have our annual Beltane camp out because of COVID. Like the camp, the festival grounds, like shut down their shit, and we're like, no, we ain't having it because we ain't having that shit. Um, which is totally cool. I completely get that. Um, I mean, we were cautious about getting back into in person stuff. I mean, it's not like we were just, hey, let's just fuck it all and go do our thing. Um, we were cautious about it. We measured our steps along the way. All of the coven was self isolating, anyways, so whatever. Now, of course, um, both the husband and I are fully vaccinated. Everybody in the coven has been fully vaccinated. So, um, we now we're still meeting in person, but with everybody fully vaxxed, and also, um, which this hasn't really changed either, because it's always been kind of a rule, even before COVID. If anybody has any symptoms of illness or thinks they're coming down with something or feels funky, that person usually stays home. Or we, if it's me or my husband who has the symptoms or feels under the weather, we cancel because, COVID meetings are here. So, we still err on the side of caution with things, but we do get together in person and have ritual and stuff. Um, what else is new? In August of 2020, uh, my mom had a stroke. Before that, she was already sort of kind of showing some signs of early dementia. But after that stroke, it got really bad. Um, like she, you know, after that stroke, she started not taking her medications regularly. She started, she had issues bathing. Physically, she was physically able to do it according to PT, um, but she wouldn't while she was at home by herself, and that's probably because she didn't feel like it because her energy was super low. Um, anyways, she would forget her medications. She would uh, think she ate and didn't. Um, she would start to, like, there were a few times where she was like, well, so and so came to visit me, but nobody's been in her apartment in months. Um, so that was not cute. And that was kind of scary. So we started getting the ball rolling on trying to get her into a long term care facility, and we finally I mean, it took quite a long time. Um, like almost a year because um, she had to go into the hospital and then she had to be diagnosed properly with dementia before they would put her in a long-term care before a long-term care facility would take her, because all she had was Medicaid. I mean, she had Medicare, obviously, but once she got dual qualified and was on both Medicare and Medicaid, she could go into a long-term care facility. But it took a while to get her back to that because of stuff that had happened with insurance the prior year. And then once she was back at that point, she had to go into the hospital to be diagnosed properly with dementia, because it wasn't written in her chart by a doctor that she was diagnosed with dementia before a long-term care facility would take her. And so, with all that long ass shit happening, we finally got her into a long-term care facility here in Louisville in July of 2021. It literally took damn near a year to get her into a long-term care facility. But once she was there, she was fine. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to go see her because of COVID still. She had already been vaccinated, but they didn't have it on record because they didn't have her vaccination card. And so I had to get that to them. But before, so she was in that long-term care facility, and I was calling them and talking to them, and we were starting to work out arrangements to get, accounts changed and transferred and all this stuff. But unfortunately, we did not get a chance to do all of that. And she had a second stroke in July of 2021 in the long-term care facility. And so they sent her to the hospital, and I went to the hospital and whatnot, and visited and whatnot with her. But the second stroke, this stroke that she had in July of 2021 was excuse me, I'm a smoker, by the way, was so severe it affected the part of the brain that manages awareness and consciousness. And so on both sides of the brain, not just on one side. And so it meant that she would be asleep for the rest of her life. Basically, she would not have a chance of having a waking conscious moment ever again. She was not in a coma. She wasn't in a vegetative state. She was literally asleep, like snoring, dreaming, asleep, and couldn't wake up. And having that be, nope, you can't jump up here, I'm recording. Having that be, like, that would be no kind of life. So we basically put her in hospice, which was like a godsend for us. I had no idea what to do, with a parent who was that sick, or even when she passed away. Like, I wouldn't have any idea what to do. Like, who would I call? Like, what would I, who do I contact? Because I have no clue. Like, I've never dealt with that before. And so in hospice, she was in hospice for 3 days. About 3 days, like, we took her off of all her meds and off of all food and hydration. It was comfort measures only. She had pain medication to keep her comfortable, but, nothing beyond that. And she basically passed away peacefully on July 22nd of 2021. And I will be the first person to tell you that it is the weirdest fucking feeling. Like, I mean, I grieved, yes, um, and I'm not over it. Like, you never really get over the loss of a parent, I don't think. Um, but, like, I haven't spoken to my dad since I was 13, and I don't even know if he's still alive. I have no clue. Like, I have no idea where he's at. Um, but, so, you know, he's basically been dead anyways, for like ages. Um, and mom just passed away this year. Right now it's November something. um, it's still the first week of November. But um, I don't think I'll ever be over that, over the loss of my mother. But it's just so weird that, like, I used to call her after supper every day. Um, Even when we got her the new smartphone recently, like not long before she went into the long term care facility, we got her a new uh, cell phone, which had to be a smartphone because the plans didn't work on her old, like, little government Medicare phone. So we did that, and she was barely able to use it most of the time because it was a smartphone. It was a touch phone because it's a smartphone, and she just it would not like it just didn't click for her how to use it. So even there, at the last before she went into the long term care facility, um, there were days when she was not able to answer the phone, but there were days that she was, and um, even now I have days where I feel like, well, I guess I should go call mom, like after supper, and then it's like, oh wait, um, it's just weird. I feel like a kid lost in a grocery store looking for his mom. Sometimes it's just one of the weirdest feelings I've ever had. But anyways, that's a whole thing. Uh, my cousin got married again. Like, I don't mean to be like nonchalant about my mother's death. That's not a thing. Get off the table, dear. I'm busy. Um, so I don't mean to be nonchalant about my mother's death. I'm not over it. I'm not grieving like I was, but I have moments where it just like, eh. Um. Anyways, excuse me. My cousin got married again. I think this is her third husband. She invited us to the wedding, and we went. Um, I'm still not sure if I completely forgive her for the whole fiasco with my mom's inheritance from my grandmother's, the sale of my grandmother's house after my grandmother passed, because that was a whole debacle. I don't even want to really get into that story, but so that was a whole thing in and of itself, and I kind of, with mom having passed, it's so I have a great uncle and aunt and another great aunt and two second cousins and their kids, whom I know personally, have met, have spent time with. Um, as distant family. And then there's my cousin, who is, a cousin. Um, I mean, we're raised like immediate family. When you have a cousin and you're from where we're from, you're raised like your cousins are immediate family because you spend so much time with them, but they're not like technically immediate family. I mean, immediate family is like your parents, your siblings, and your grandparents. Like, that's basically, your spouse and your spouse's parents and siblings. Like, those are basically, and your children if you have children. So, like, those are basically your immediate family. And some jobs don't even consider your in laws immediate family. At least here in Kentucky. I've worked for some places that don't even consider in laws immediate family. So, but I mean, technically, immediate family is like you, your spouse, your parents, your siblings, and your grandparents. And, going by that definition, you know, my husband is my immediate family, but that's it. Like, I am the only person left out of my mother's immediate family and my father's immediate family because his sister passed away, I believe, before mom and dad's. No, it wasn't. It was after mom and dad's divorce was final. But she lived in my hometown. And so I knew her. Like, I still visited her and kept up with her before she moved to Georgia. Um, so, and then of course she moved back, but that was when she got sick and passed away. And I know my dad's dad passed away not very long after the divorce because well, no, I think I was 20. Maybe I was 19. I was out of high school when he passed away, but I wasn't very long out of high school. So I was either 18 or 19 when dad's dad passed away. And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I know I went to his funeral. Um, and then I believe in 14, 2013 or 2014, my grandmother on dad's side went into a long-term care facility because she'd had a stroke, but it didn't affect her mind. She was just physically unable physically not able to take care of herself because of the stroke. So I mean, it's me. I'm everything that's left out of my immediate family, and it's me, and it's the weirdest freaking feeling. And I mean, there's nobody for me to like pass anything on to. Like, what is the point of me taking a bunch of stuff that was my mom's and that was my grandmother's and that was my aunt's that mom had stored up? What's the point in me taking all that when there's nobody else to give it to after I pass away? I'm 44. I'm not old, but I'm not a 20-year-old chick no more either. I'm not a young spring chicky chick. Um, I mean, there's a good chance that I've passed the halfway mark of my lifespan. Um, I mean, that's not an unusual thing to to think about in my family. Like, I mean, one of my uncles died of a brain aneurysm at 35. Another one died in his early 50s of uh, lymph node cancer. Um, my grandfather died when I was young of cirrhosis of the liver. I think it was 86 when he passed away, so I was 9. Um, my great grandmother passed away in 94 at 85. And I mean, my grandfather, when he passed away in 86, I think he was 70 something, I believe. Yeah, he was 70 something. 72, I think, maybe. I mean, when my grandmother passed, I think she was like 72, maybe. So, I mean, with my family history, I mean, and mom died at 69. Of course, I mean, she was riddled with health problems, but she died at 69. Um, so I mean, there's a good chance that I've passed the halfway point of my lifespan. If you look at my family history, and that's without any extraneous shit like smoking and car accidents and alcoholism and stuff that causes stuff. Um, so anyhow, I did not mean for this to be a video about death. um, or even considering one's own mortality. Um, but there it is. Um, there's just an update on what's been happening from 2020 till now. Um, I mean, there have been other things, but those are like a few of the high points, uh, and or low points, like however you want to look at it. This is few of the major points throughout 2020 and up to now. My plan is to get back into making YouTube videos on a regular basis. I don't know what topics there will be. I don't know if I'm going to leave the previous videos up. I don't know if I'm going to like completely revamp. I have no idea. Like I'm just at this point I'm just going with it and I don't know how often it'll be. It'll just be a thing. So, anyhow, there you have it. Um and I will talk to you soon. Peace, blessed be, and namaste.